Hi, everyone. I'm up at 3 a.m. because I cannot get a story out of my brain. This story happens to be my story. And as I kept on thinking about this story, I realized that we all have our own stories to share. And if we can share them with each other, we can grow from each other's experiences. And so um, I feel like I need to share my experience for some reason. And oh, here it goes. So, my life experience that I want to share today begins in summer of 1998. I was with my family. I come from a big family, and we were returning from a family vacation in California. And in the city of Lovelock, Nevada, we lost a couple of passengers. One happened to be my mother, the other my sister. And their loss rocked me to the core. It left me very unsure of myself. As a young 16-year-old boy, I had just received my license, and I ended up driving upon the accident and came out of that just with a large hole, and I didn't know how to feel it or what to do about it, and didn't know how to share my feelings with anybody about what I was going through. And as everything began kind of tumbling out of place, a friend of mine who happens to have special needs, who's a very needy person, he would usually only contact me or reach out to me if he needed something or wanted something from me, started just randomly calling me every day just to see how I was doing. I didn't figure out until later on that it was nobody gave him the idea or told him to do it. He just started doing it on his own. And from those phone calls, he gave me a sense of purpose, that somebody needed me, that I had a service to provide to others. And so I lived for Jake at that time, and I pushed my depression that I was going through at the time. I pushed all those feelings, and I kind of bottled them up and just stored them away in the back of myself somewhere. And I had good friends that would help me a little bit through the experiences, one being my now wife, who would distract me by taking me out, doing fun things and here and there. And but I never dealt with my grief, and I never dealt with my depression. And that all came to a crumbling halt within the first year of my marriage to my amazing wife, Tara. During our first colossal argument, we had words and we said this and that, and in the end, Tara left. She was going to go to her mother's, and at that moment, this bottle that I had been keeping around with myself for years and years and years exploded. I did not know what to do with myself. I felt like I was in a tornado of feelings and emotions I couldn't see clearly, and the only way for me to get out of that was to stop it all. The only way for me to stop the hurricane, the tornado of feelings and emotions and everything that was around me, was to grab every ounce of medication or pills or cough syrup and guzzle them down and inhale them. And so I grabbed the pills and the cough syrup, and I downed everything I could find. And I remember just laying there in our basement apartment, waiting for the lights to go out and for everything to be gone, because I couldn't deal with it anymore. I couldn't deal with the loss. I couldn't feel those feelings anymore, and I couldn't lose anybody else. And it was the thought of losing another person that was the thing that set me off. It was the trigger that exploded my feelings, and that I wasn't sharing, I wasn't doing anything with. And halfway to her mother's house, my wife had a very strong feeling and decided that she needed to come back. And I thank God every day that she did come back, and that she did come to my side and wanted to work things out with me and overcome this trivial argument. I don't even remember what it was about. And she took me to the hospital. I drank some horrible, awful charcoal stuff that helped me to get rid of what was in my body and have it not kill me. I was extremely lucky to have her in my life and have people in my life that from that moment forward gave me the tools that I needed in order to overcome this. It took me a lot of therapy, it took me medication, it took me sharing my experience with those in my inner circle, and people that know me now still don't know about this experience because it's not something that I share very often or that I talk about, because I was ashamed that I was that. People talk about suicide and they talk about it being a very selfish thing. And in many ways, it can be a selfish thing. And in many ways, I feel like it turns out to be the only option for us when we're dealing with unresolved issues, unresolved pain. It becomes the only out. It's the only way we can get through it, the only thing that makes sense at that moment, at that time. And had I opened up and had I dealt with my issues and with what I was going through in a healthy way, instead of bottling everything up inside myself, I wouldn't have exploded the way I did. I would have known how to deal with those issues. And I implore anybody that is going through depression or feels like they have the desire to harm themselves or to hurt themselves, to get attention, get help, reach out to anybody. There are thousands of people that are waiting and ready to help. And I'm one of them. I would be happy to help anybody that I love, anybody that needs my help. And I know that anybody that's gone through this would feel the same way. And that's why I made this video, is because I feel like there might be somebody out there that needs to know that you can get through this, and that there is hope, and that there is a life after traumatic incidents, whether it be anything in our lives. And so that is my life test that I went through and that I survived. I feel like a survivor because I overcame something that was so difficult, something that I didn't think I could ever overcome. And even now, I look back at that as being one of the most pivotal moments in my life, where there's my life before suicide and my life after suicide attempt. And I feel like I have been made a stronger person because of the people that, and the way I was able to overcome that, and through the medications, through the therapies and everything that I went through, it's made me stronger, and I've become a stronger person because of it. And I know how to deal with my issues, and I know what to do there. Anyway, now I'm rambling. Sorry. So in wrapping this whole video up, I would like to just challenge a few people to take on this test and share something about yourself, a life test that you've had to overcome, and see what happens. And I hope that I will be able to share with those experiences with you. The people that I want to challenge is: 1, my wife, Tara; 2, a friend of mine from way back, Jeremy Higgins; a surrogate mom of mine, Ann Orton; my dad; and you, who's watching this video. And if you can't share your experience, if it's too hard, it makes you too vulnerable, then do me a favor and perform a random act of kindness for somebody, and I'll count that as good. And know that you're not alone in your struggles and in our life tests. Nobody's alone. We all have each other to lean on. My wife has a saying that she loves, about leaning on other people, and that's how we get through life. It's one big loop. We lean on other people. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope this helps.